What is going on? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are doing round two of my mock draft 1.1. This is with trades, so if you are new, feel free to go watch round number one. That was just posted yesterday, and we're going to be finishing it off right here, right now. We're going to do a quick little recap just for those of y'all who are coming back in, and it's been 24 hours. We're going to see what has happened. I'm going to let y'all read because, again, y'all can read, and we're going to be re-referencing this plenty of times, but it is just a quick way for y'all to be able to get caught up on some of the trades that have happened, like Bo Nix being traded up for with the Raiders at that Eagles pick. So we are in the current situation. I'll give you guys a quick little rundown as well of the guys who are still on the board. You got guys like Riley Leonard, Quinn Ewers still on the board, Michael Pratt, who hasn't been playing, KJ Jefferson. You got some really good guys, Cam Ward as well. Looking at the guys who are still available on my board, we have the linebackers here in Eichenberg and Trotter. Tyler Barron as well. Big fan of Tyler Barron. Didn't see too many edge rushers go in the first. And we got Kalen Bullock as well. So we do have some really good players that are still available. Not many of them, but I will be keeping the guys who are available still at the top of the board. Let's get right into this. Again, none of the running backs have been taken. Wide receiver wise, we're a little bit thin. Good job for Xavier and AD for getting just about like 75 yards each versus Bama in that victory. So good for y'all. We're going to be having it's going to be a stock report. I was about to say studs and duds, but I don't really want to go in and infringe on some other people's video titles. But we do have studs and duds in there for each week. I do post it on, I believe it's Thursday. I always post it just to make sure it's out there before we see the finale of the week and the beginning of the next. So, yeah, definitely feel free to stay tuned to check that out. So those are the wide receivers that are available. Offensive line, we still have guys like Graham Barton in here, which I honestly am considering taking here for the Cardinals because he can also play center. I do think that would be a very nice addition. You got Cedric Van Pran here as well, Zach Zinter, Cooper Beebe, who I'm a big fan of, Donovan Jackson. We got some good interior offensive linemen, so it's a very big plus for a lot of teams that could certainly be in that market. Other positions of note that are still available in the DB room, you got Josh Newton here, who I'm a fan of, but not to that degree. Nate Wiggins, who, again, he's a solid player. There's nothing that I have against him. I just think that he's a little bit overrated. Kalen Bullock as well, who I just mentioned him a little bit ago. TJ Tampa's a fun one. James Williams had a really rough week, but we even have guys like Jason Marshall in here, who I am a very, very big fan of. Cole Bishop as well, who might be featured. So got to give a shout out to those guys on the defensive line. We still have guys like Chop, Leatu Latu in here, JT Tuamalau, Brandon Dorless. There's a lot of really good players. Princely's a fun one to sneak in there. But, there's certainly some good players here. I'm not a huge fan of Chop Robinson. That's just me. And I don't think it's ludicrous to have an opinion like that at this point because, back at this point during the 2023 draft cycle, we were still talking about guys like Jacqueline Roy as first round picks, and they ended up being much later. I don't think it's crazy to just say because I don't like a player this high that, there's going to be some ruffled feathers about it. And I understand there's going to be ruffled feathers about my opinion. That's perfectly fine. What I owe you guys is honesty. Am I willing to own up and say I fucked up? Absolutely. But what I will not own up to is BSing you guys into believing something that's just not true. And that's what I think probably sets this channel apart from some because I'm not going to pander to the audience. I just personally like to give you guys honest opinions on players. So, like guys like Chop Robinson, I think he's too inconsistent, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If he builds up consistency, he's going to move up my board. That's why I don't have to worry about it, because at the end of the day, when all the tape's watched, that's when my opinion is finalized. So, again, it's not like I'm writing off Chop Robinson or JT Tuamalau. I'm saying the tape I watched doesn't match where people think they go, and that's okay. So at pick number 33, we have done a lot of trades with the Arizona Cardinals. We also have pick number 40 from Tampa Bay. So stay tuned to Cardinals fans. We have already selected Marvin Harrison Jr. as well as Chris Jenkins, filling two pretty large vacancies on the team. We decided to stick with K1, Kyler Murray. And I'm looking at Graham Barton here, and I think it would be an excellent addition at that interior offensive line spot. Paris Johnson will be obviously the heir at that tackle spot. Graham Barton is going to be a guard or a center, which is nice because he was recruited to Duke as a center. So he is a natural center, and that's a big addition. It really is. You want to protect Kyler Murray as much as you can. Graham Barton's also not super duper tall. I think he is like 6'3", or he might be 6'4". It's slipping off the top of my head at the moment, but he's not going to be some 6'7" interior offensive lineman. That's obviously making it impossible for K1 to see around him. But at pick number 34, that would have been my dream pick for the Dolphins, is Graham Barton. But that's okay because we still have guys like Cedric Van Pran that can help bolster the interior. Donovan Jackson as well. I don't think either of them are going to be a bad selection. I'd prefer to go for a center because, it's easier, in my opinion, for a center to go to guard because of the mental game that you have to have as a good center. And I think Cedric Van Pran's a very solid center. Other positions I would potentially take here. You could, of course, go that tight end route. We do still have Jatavian Sanders, who had 114 yards on Alabama there. Granted, Bama does not have great linebackers, so not going to overweight him on that, even though, spoiler, he will be one of the stars of the week because you still put up 114 against Bama. It would be a good selection. He'd work very well in this type of system. But for me, I am going to go the Cedric Van Pran route. I am slightly pandering to the audience on this one because a lot of Dolphins fans have been begging for some Cedric Van Pran, and I'm not against going offensive line. You have it right there. At pick number 35, this also might be a guard selection, but I'm also looking at the edge position. So, again, I don't really like the interior offensive line. I think Zach Zinter would be an amazing addition to the squad at that right guard spot. Donovan Jackson is a left guard. Does not mean that he has to be a left guard, but Zach Zinter is a pure native right guard. I'd be perfectly fine taking him at this spot. Again, I want to look at those edge rushers because there's a lot of them on the board right now. The thing that makes me kind of like pause a little bit is that down the line, I think you're going to find a lot of really high quality edge rushers that aren't as big of a drop off as you think. Again, I think there's a significant gap between the top three and the rest, even though I think that Tyler Barron is a step above the next tier. I think Tyler Barron is the most underrated edge rusher in this class. But I actually watched the Washington State game over again last night. And, obviously he's a friend of the show. A little bit biased on that front. Brennan Jackson, got to give him a shout out. Cool dude. I mean, it's a guy who I can text at like 10 p.m. and he'll actually respond. Like, legitimately a cool guy. And I mean, again, if you guys are like owning shows or anything like that, leverage that to be able to meet cool people. Sometimes people do have egos, and that's perfectly fine. But guys like Brennan, like, they actually work their ass off on the field. And I'm not going to say that just because he's somebody who I consider a friend of the show, but I'm saying it because my eyes saw it. That's the whole entire reason I reached out to Brennan, is because I was watching Diane Henley and I could not stop watching Brennan Jackson. The thing is, they have a guy named Ron Stone Jr. as well. They're kind of cut out of the same cloth. Extremely powerful, unique movement skills, and knows how to use their length. Unbelievable motors. Those guys, I'm going to say, are worth probably second to third round picks based on my initial gut reaction. Of course, when you dig into the tape, things change. When I do my full scouting reports on them, we'll talk about it. I just think that when you get guys like Tyler Barron and those kids down the line, I mean, it's just going to be so much better value than getting it here. It really is. And I don't think you'll find that in interior offensive line. That's what I just got to say there. So I'm going to go Zach Zinter here. He's going to be a really good addition. He has some crazy power. He obviously has that highlight reel of him pancaking two dudes at once, or not at once, in the same play. So good for him. Amazing run blocker. One of the best in the class, if not the best, at being able to just pry open a run lane. So those big runs Michigan has had are behind Zach Zinter. So that's a very, very good sign for him at the next level, because this team, especially with Anthony Richardson, you want to continue protecting him, and especially given how Steichen can use the quarterback as a runner, having Zach Zinter open up holes and at least be a very large asset in the run game is a big plus. So I love that for them. Pick number 36. So this is Carolina's first selection. I'd be open to a wide receiver at this point. You got Xavier Worthy here, and I know this is going to be pandering to the audience as well, because a lot of people have been clamoring for Xavier Worthy on this squad. And you look at how it's composed, you're probably going to have, I think Adam Thielen's there on a 2-year or 3-year contract. I don't believe it was a 1-year contract. And even if it is, I mean, I don't know many teams are going to want him for more than a year. He could honestly sign for another. So most likely Adam Thielen and Mingo. What you're really missing there is a deep threat. Xavier Worthy is, in fact, a very good addition to this team. So shout out to whoever said that. Feel free to give yourself a shout out down in the comment section below, because it actually is a very, very good pick. Similar to how I said I'm not super high on Malik Neighbors, but it fits the Kansas City Chiefs so well for the role I would be looking for. This also, Xavier Worthy, fits the role I'm looking for so well. And it's better than any of these other deep threats that I have at the moment, like those guys who are going to be specified as the guys you just send deep and say YOLO. Like other guys, I mean, Jermaine Burton might be somebody who I consider significantly better talent-wise, but Xavier Worthy he's the type of guy that you want in this system. So you could wait for Jermaine Burton. I just doubt that teams are going to value him that highly. He does have chemistry with Bryce Young, even though he didn't perform as well as maybe we would hope for. It kind of sucks they don't have him in their top 150, but also because they just smoked Bama, Xavier Worthy's going to come in and be like, what's good? So horns down, but that's okay. Xavier Worthy goes to the Panthers. Again, y'all request it. It's a fun thing to toss in. I think wide receiver is a good option. Pick number 37 for the Titans. We've moved up with our in-division rivals here with the Colts in the first round to get a star left tackle in Olu Fashanu. I think this team needs a little bit of time to develop, so I wanted to take the guy with the higher ceiling and unbelievable mirroring ability. Good for Olu. I just think that Olu still has anchor issues he still has to deal with, and he has the size, which means it's definitely going to be more of a base type of thing and more of a balance type of thing. We'll see what happens there because, again, unbelievable athlete. Regardless, tackle was the big position for me. I like Andre Dillard. I don't think he's a star left tackle, and this gives you a longer-term option there. We could go QB here. Quinn Ewers is still on the board. It's not out of the question to go after another second-round quarterback because Quinn's a great guy. I might want to trade out of this spot because I don't think this team honestly needs that much. And you could literally move back. You get Mason Smith here, to be honest. This is one of those teams that I genuinely don't have a very good reading for. I think edge rusher wouldn't be a bad idea, even though Arden Key was feasting in that first game. You guys played the Saints. Yeah, he was, I think, feasting on Trevor Penning. So, thanks. Wow. Thanks, Bo Nix. Great. He's already gone. I was hoping maybe it might give me a little bit better insight there. I'm just going to put hand on heart. Titans are one of the teams I do not like drafting for because I don't really think your team is that bad. I just don't think it's fully well. I just don't know if in practice it's as good as maybe it should be. It's very tough to say that because, again, you have a good roster and you know how to maximize your roster when your quarterback's not playing that well. But I'm hoping, dude, we should just go for a QB here. We'll trade out of it. We're gonna have faith in Will Levis. That's what you just gotta keep telling yourselves. Have faith in Will Levis. Let's find a team that maybe would want to move and make a quarterback competition. Washington's one of those teams. We moved back with them with Drake May on the board, but we also got significant capital by doing that. Again, you don't want to go for another UNC quarterback. I think this wouldn't be a bad option for them, although I have a higher grade on Sam Howell, so I'm a little bit biased on that front. At the same time, I personally, when you're looking at it, if you're at that number 9 selection, it means you're not doing a very good job. This could be a good opportunity. Now you basically get your quarterback for significantly cheaper too. And it's just an easy way. Look at this. It's a 4-spot differential. And that's not going to cost you a 3rd round pick. That'll cost you a 4th. And it says 94 chance of being accepted. So, who cares? Maybe we'll toss in a future 5th. Whoop-de-doo. Doesn't matter. Feel free to do the calculations in your own head. The Titans, it's just not a good spot for you. And you can get that extra 4th round pick so that maybe you can get an extra depth wide receiver. Maybe you can get an extra depth safety. It's just a lot better overall. And so we're going to be going Quinn Ewers here. Essentially, we're getting a quarterback that, well, according to my board, is only 4 spots down, even though on the consensus board it's significantly different. You're going to be getting 4 spots down on my board for what, 28 spot differential, and you get a second next year and a third this year for it. I think it's worth it. And Quinn Ewers, as long as he fixes his deep accuracy, because it just really is super duper spotty. Like, I just don't get that. But he's been doing a phenomenal job, and he's one of the most precise passers within 15 yards that I've seen. Just once you get past that, it really starts to get a little bit shoddy. And this team, you have the weapons. You can just pick apart defenses within 15 yards. And if he works on that deep ball, all hell can break loose. And again, second round pick on a QB, not a bad idea. Pick number 38, the Eagles. The Eagles. I'm going to take Tyler Barron for this squad. I absolutely love him. He's 260, 265. He's not listed in here, so it's another one of my dudes. We'll show some love for Jasheen Davis here. I haven't studied him personally, so another guy to add to the watch list. But Jasheen, power to you, buddy. You're now going to be boosted up into the PFF algorithm. But this is going to be Tyler Barron, 260. Going to be a perfect replacement there for Derek Barnett. And I don't know if Josh Sweat's contract's up this year, but he fits that 260 to 270 role that they're looking for to pair up with their lighter edge rushers in Hassan as well as Nolan. So good for them. Good for them. I like that. Pick number 39 for the Bears. We have Jared Verse as well as Joe Alt on the squad. I think those are two of the biggest holes on the team. Yes, Braxton Jones did not play poorly. He just didn't play well. And the left tackle spot is one of those that you do not want to have to worry about. I don't trust Braxton Jones. And if the Bears are at number 7, most likely Braxton Jones didn't work out. This is from the lines, which actually does predict. I mean, it's basically a weighted average of all the Super Bowl odds. Now, of course, those change every day, but this was them on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the hell I did my mock draft. But pick number 39, I choose Tuesday because it's after Aaron Rodgers' injury. At pick number 39, we have ended up going after 2 high-value positions. Now, we could look at a wide receiver here because we already know Chase Claypool is going to be bye-bye. I do like Brew McCoy quite a bit. I think this is a bit early. A.D. Mitchell needs to just stay healthy for a whole season before I take him this early. Antoine Wells would be really fun. Juice Wells is awesome. Like, he's so... I have nothing but glowing reviews about Antoine Wells, apart from his speed. He's honestly a pretty damn solid route runner. Nothing special. Like, let's not go there. But he's one of the best, if not the best, after the catch receiver in this draft. And that's perfect for a team that wants to continue throwing screens. Now you have 3 guys who are really good after the catch. He has a good amount of size to him too, very Debo-esque. And it doesn't put all of the wear and tear on DJ Moore on these screens or on Darnell Mooney, who should be a really good deep threat, not necessarily someone you use for screens. So I really like Antoine Wells. I really do. And I think that's the route I'm going to go. Plus, he looks good in darker colors. So we'll go from black and red to, I forget what the Bears' official colors are, but let's just say navy and orange. I think that he's going to be an absolute freak show on this team. Then add him to Roshan. Like, both those dudes can lower the shoulder. It's going to be a fun duo. Pick number 40, we have the Cardinals. So Bears just selected Antoine Wells. The Cardinals. So again, we've taken a lot of good players. We've taken Graham Barton. We've also taken Chris Jenkins, and we have also taken Marvin Harrison. So center/guard, defensive interior, as well as wide receiver. Now, I think I'm going to go a corner here, and we're going to be going after a stud in Jason Marshall. We've had success from Florida with our past starting corner, who I don't know why he's slipping my mind right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. We've had some success with Florida corners. Now we're going to have Jason Marshall going in there, as well as Garrett Williams, who was drafted in the 3rd round of the past draft, who was a top 15 player for me before he got injured. So now we're going to have some actual legitimate talent in that secondary. Jason's also a good asset versus the run game. Just a very good player overall. We're seeing the linebackers fall, but that's just because a lot of them are really poorly built. It's like 6'1", 230 for the majority of these dudes. And Tommy Tommy's not necessarily popping off the way I was hoping he would to start out the year. He's by far one of the better linebackers in the class. But, I thought Barrett Carter was a bit different in terms of his physical build. And he's just not. But at pick number 41, see, this is a team I would develop Chop Robinson on. Like that's where I feel comfortable doing something like that. But I'm debating going Mason Smith because he's so versatile. He was a 300-pound edge rusher at 6'6". And then you have him paired up with Jeffrey Simmons on the interior. Like, that just sounds a little bit too good to be true. So we're going to try to force that through. Pick number 42 for the Rams. We went after an offensive tackle in Amarius Mims. Now, I could continue going DB, but it seems like they're doing a really good job poaching the free agency market on their DBs. This is the team I very well am going to start taking the linebackers on. And you got Barrett Carter here. You got Tommy Eichenberg. Jeremiah Trotter, not Barrett Carter for this team. Jeremiah is just a little bit more of the brains of the operation. Barrett Carter has the higher athletic ceiling. Jeremiah Trotter, though, just a very special talent in terms of his processing. Again, just a much smaller dude at 6 foot. I think the Rams could use a true leader of that second level, and Jeremiah is going to be just that. Pick number 43 for the Giants. We went after Keon Coleman in round number 1, and the Giants are going to be going back to the linebacking group, and I think I want to get someone more consistent. I'm going to go Tommy Eichenberg over Barrett Carter. Barrett has the higher ceiling, but I'm not going to go too crazy. And you know what? I'd be in the mood for a quarterback if I were here for the Patriots. Here at pick number 44, I don't really like the options available as much as maybe some of y'all would. I'm going to go to that linebacker room because I love Jawan Bentley, but I'm not a fan of the other linebacker options you guys have. And I am a fan of Marte Mapu, but I don't know why I have Sion Taki stuck in my head. I'm 99% sure it's not him. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Your weak side linebacker. Barrett Carter is the exact fit I'm going to be looking for. So after talking about no linebacker, we have back-to-back-to-back linebackers coming off the board. Jeremiah Trotter to the Rams, Tommy Eichenberg to the Giants, and then Barrett Carter to the Patriots. So some freaky stuff going on. Pick number 45, speaking of a team that could have used probably one of those 3 guys, the Steelers. Based on my board, the next guy who is available, we've already taken Tyler Barron. We have Kalen Bullock still on the board. Kalen Bullock, unfortunately, would be taking that Minko role, which is something we do not need. But the Steelers, we ended up taking Kingsley Suamatea in the first round, right tackle out of BYU. Now, I would be open to taking Dwight McLaughlin here as a corner number 2, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Many of y'all have probably not heard of Dwight McLaughlin. Kamari Lassiter's here too, but I'm going to pass on that. I don't know who Mike Sainristil is. Well, Sainristil, I haven't studied him. I do know who he is. I have not studied him. He's going to be my placeholder for Dwight McLaughlin, cornerback out of Arkansas. He's going to be a little bit more athletically limited, probably going to be in that 4-5 range, but his off-man ability is ridiculous. And I've been seeing the Steelers play a shit ton of off-man, and even if an off-zone, I think that his ability is just awesome. It really is. I said if a team runs a lot of off-man or only off-man, he'd probably be a top 10 corner in the NFL. That's how good Dwight McLaughlin is. So definitely going to be one of my guys for the draft, and the Steelers need a corner number 2. That is not Patrick Peterson. Pick number 46. So this is via Denver, but we have some pretty intriguing choices here. We got, I think, a Emeka Egbuka in the first round. Somehow he fell because that's just how the draft works. And at this point, this is a team that would definitely be taking Chop Robinson. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. That's definitely a team that should be in the market for it. Tight end Jatavian Sanders is still on the board. And I think this is a spot where they would go after it. Just continue developing the receiving core. And, again, there's not many teams that would be super duper in the market for a tight end. Actually, I don't really think many of these teams would. Maybe the Eagles would have been a good spot for them. You could say the Panthers, even though they have 2 more years of a contract for Hayden Hurst. I mean, there's only a couple teams in here that probably would have taken him. And this tight end group, not necessarily the best in the world. Jatavian's still one of the better options. Pick number 47. So the Vikings, I mean, this is a team that needs a lot of help, to be fair. I'm going to look at the corner room. Looking at my next corner is Kamari Lassiter. Man, I mean, I guess we have a new quarterback clock, so we have a little bit more money to spend. I guess it's worth taking Kamari Lassiter. The secondary sucks anyways, so why not get a guy who's 4'2" and is an absolute freak? Kamari Lassiter he's a very fun player to watch. Number 44 player in the draft. Just needs a little bit more refinement. This is not the place that will end up doing that, but I thought the same thing about Mekhi Blackman. So it seems to be their thing to draft very raw, very good man corners, or very raw, high upside man corners that just need refinement. And then they just don't bring in a guy to help refine those corners. So at least we're sitting into their game right there. The Green Bay Packers. So this is the Jets pick. So sorry for no 2 first, Green Bay. Pretty sure the Jets fans are pretty pissed about it as well. We ended up taking a safety / corner, more a slot corner, in Cooper DeJean. Now, this team doesn't really need much. Really doesn't. This is a good spot for a running back, though. The first running back to come off the board. I think Blake Corum could be a really nice addition. Braylon Allen was absolute butt cheeks versus, of all teams, Wazoo. And again, I love the edge rushers there, but this is not a team I would have expected to hold Braylon Allen to like 2 yards per carry. Hint, he might be the dud of the week. But other guys of note, you got Rocket Sanders here, who I'm actually grading out right now. I think that he's a pretty intriguing option. He would be, similar build to AJ Dillon at 242 pounds. But I'm going to go Blake Corum here. He just has really special ability to find the gaps. And after seeing what Deuce Vaughn did in the preseason, Blake Corum, he's not Deuce Vaughn. Obviously, he's a couple inches taller, like 30 pounds heavier, and knows how to maintain momentum through contact. Blake Corum is just what the starting version of Deuce Vaughn looks like. Maybe a worse receiver, but just maybe a better runner in the NFL's eyes. Y'all know my love for Deuce. He was my RB2 last year, so I'm not going to shit on Deuce. But in terms of the NFL, probably going to be what they were hoping from Deuce. Or what they will hope from Deuce. One of the two. Pick number 49, we moved up with Seattle for Drake May. So you have a superstar quarterback. Now, I know that maybe it would have been more entertaining to wait and get Bo Nix or something, but it is what it is. Defensive interior is still a huge issue on this team. Looking at the ones available, there are a ton of good options here. Now, you got Rook, who I think is definitely not going to be more what you want. McKinley, unfortunately, had a pretty bad week. I don't know necessarily if I'm over the moon about that. Tyleik Williams is the guy who I'm targeting here. And he's going to be around that 320 to 330 range. He's a unique athlete at that position. It feels like a Seattle Seahawk. I thought he was much better than Michael Hall. I don't know why he's ranked so low. I think it's also because of like a 9% pressure rate, but he just naturally knows how to use his frame very, very well. Very athletic for his size, great length, just overall really good prospect and a valuable addition to this team because this linebacker class is not too bueno. Pick number 50. We got Shedeur Sanders for the Falcons in the first. Now, this might be a good spot to develop Chop Robinson behind. I think he might have been a former teammate. I don't know if it hasn't been 3 years. So, former teammate Arnold Ebiketie. I love Arnold Ebiketie. It would be a good spot for sure. Other positions for Atlanta to go. Shoot, they already got the running back down. The receiving core is honestly pretty damn fine. Free Kyle Pitts. And then defensively, linebackers looking good. I like Hayden Ellis. I love Troy Anderson. Corner 2, I don't think you're going to find one at this point. I know a lot of people love Nate Wiggins. We could go back, actually, to Clemson. This would be a good spot for Nate Wiggins because I think he needs a lot of discipline. And this is a good spot to teach him that. Very good athlete, but, he needs a discipline. And going with an alum, a former Clemson, a Clemsonite, former Tiger there in A.J. Terrell would be a nice addition. So pick number 51, Green Bay. Another team that could look for a corner. Josh Newton would be a pretty valuable addition to this squad. We already got that running back down. We already have that DB down. We could go for just a pure safety here in Kalen Bullock. I don't know if I really want to do that. We're going to go Josh Newton here and get some extra cornerback depth. Pick number 52, Josh Newton or Nate Wiggins would have probably been somebody who I valued for the Eagles. We ended up getting Tyler Barron earlier. So with the Eagles' second pick, this could have been Chop Robinson too, but Chop is a little bit lighter. It's running back is something we could do, but they seem to be really good at poaching running backs later. Wide receiver 3 would be a solid option, but looking at it, it's like Jermaine Burton, which I just don't think he'd be selected remotely close to here. Like Rome Odunze is still on the board. I know a lot of people are going to be pissed about that. I'm just not a huge fan of Rome Odunze. There's not enough tape out there, honestly, on Rome Odunze for me to, pick apart his full route, because it's very fun to see him from the normal broadcast view, but I only do my grades on wide receivers and corners and safeties through all 22 tape, like exclusively. I will not substitute for anything else because, again, I want to see the whole route. I want to see the whole play, and you just can't from the broadcast view. So I think you could look at a development tackle here. Troy Fautanu is a really good guard. I like Troy Fautanu. He's not going to be a tackle, though. I don't really see anymore. Like Javon Foster, you're not looking to upgrade at right tackle right now, and there's no other right tackles to be able to develop behind Lane Johnson. So that's something you guys will definitely have to cross in terms of that bridge when it does come. But looking at safeties, I know a lot of people love Ed Reed Blankenship. I'm a huge fan of Kalen Bullock, and he's been balling out this year as well. Granted, against pretty subpar teams, so can't really say much there. Linebacker, though, there are Georgia linebackers. We do have Georgia linebackers, and Jamon Dumas Johnson. I think we'll go that way. We'll go Jamon. He's going to be more, I believe he's a Mike build. Pretty sure he's a Mike build. I'm debating between him and Smail Munden. I'm trying to remember what their stats are. Pretty, like 90% sure Jamon Dumas Johnson. He's going to be a starting linebacker on this team anyways. But then you could pair him up there with Nakobe Dean. This team needs all the help they can get. You don't want to be a veteran merchant at that linebacker spot, just kind of like snagging some old dudes and trying to hope that they were what they were. Pick number 53. This is a team that could totally develop Chop Robinson. I'm trying to find a place for Chop, and this is the team. I could go a wide receiver. I mean, Romo, like this is where AD Mitchell or Rome Odunze would be a really nice addition. I know a lot of people love Rome. I like AD Mitchell more. So AD Mitchell is going to be the Zay Jones replacement for the future. Just going to be a cheaper option in the long run. Pick number 54. Zero pressures versus backup tackles is surprising for Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. I don't get that personally, but I do think running back with an elusive back would be the right move. The issue is Bucky Irving had a really rough week, 3.5 yards per carry. Trey Benson hasn't really looked like himself versus top tier talent. I think Trey's going to get back to it. Maybe he just had a slower start to the year. Trey has a higher upside than Bucky just because Bucky is athletically limited. He's just not necessarily the fastest and most explosive guy. He's just so in tune with his body. He's able to make guys miss very well. Trey Benson's going to be definitely more of the Chargers style back. And, just getting a consistent run game is probably how you're going to be able to win games, because it just gives the defense a lot more time to rest, breathe, and not let up 50 points. So pick number 55, the Browns. This is probably going to be Chop Robinson. They continue filling up that edge room with a ton of different dudes. Chop Robinson it is. So finally he does come off the board. Look at that. Hallelujah. Pick number 56, Leatu Latu, JT Tumalau are top options for Baltimore. Could end up going after someone like Rome Odunze. Kalen Bullock's still available as well. Again, this is a team that doesn't necessarily need a ton. Cornerback, probably a good spot to go. I do like DJ James and Max Melton. I haven't studied Kalen Carson enough to give you guys an honest opinion on it. DJ James might be the dude. I really do like DJ James. Very good athlete. He's the much better corner there at Auburn as well. So I'm going to take the chance on DJ James. Pick number 57. This actually might end up being the Max Melton pick for the Lions, because I think corner 1 as well as wide receiver 1 are two positions that they definitely need to fill out. Again, I haven't studied Kalen Carson enough to give you guys an honest opinion of him. So I'm going to be going Max Melton out of Rutgers. Pick number 58 for the Dolphins. We have already gone a center / guard. Actually, yeah, center slash guard and Cedric Van Pran. I do think linebacker wouldn't be an awful selection here. I don't think you need a safety. Cornerback, oh, we get another corner? No. Could give some respect to Kalen Carson in that respect, but I'm not going to. We still have some solid tight ends on the board, and I would love to see how Jaheim Bell is used in a Shanahan-style offense. Pick number 59, another team that could use a tight end. There are not really many available. I love Brevin Spanford. I think I took Brevin last time to this team. I'm going to take him again. He's my number 3 tight end in the draft, or number 4 tight end in the draft. He runs routes as better than Jaheim Bell at 40 pounds heavier. And Jaheim's just a little bit better all around in terms of polish, and Brevin's still working on his blocking. Pick number 60. So, Dallas, we ended up going Denzel Burke in the first. Now, I don't think, again, this team has done a very good job not needing very much. Linebacker is probably the position I might want to go. We could end up taking Jalen Ford and pairing him back up with, what's his name, DeMarvion Overshown. But he had a really rough week. You wouldn't have to take him here. And it might be like one of the few needs on this team. I'm going to actually take Cooper Beebe, though. Cooper Beebe's a good player. Like, there's some really good interior offensive linemen I could have taken earlier and just decided not to. Not for a great reason, but just because I tried to value some other positions too. At pick number 61, I'm going to go Keelan Bullock here all day because he is a top 32 player on my board. Should not be on the board, and this is a team that could use a safety. Pick number 62. This is going to be Troy Fautanu. Yes, he's not a tackle. We went an offensive tackle in round number 1. We're doing the right thing. We're fixing the right guard because I don't like Spencer Burford that much. And we're fixing the right tackle because I don't like Colton McKivitz, which I don't think y'all do either. Troy Fautanu is going to be a guard at the next level. Just he plays like a tackle, but he just doesn't have the length necessary to be a tackle at the next level. Pick number 50 or 63, the Philadelphia Eagles. We could just end up snagging Laiatu Latu, but this is a great spot to go after a wide receiver 3. And I just want to make sure I did not draft a wide receiver yet. I got an edge rusher and a linebacker. So wide receiver it is. And we're going to go Rome Odunze, continuing not to get any speed on the outside, but still 6'3", 211 naturally would be a very good receiver for the Eagles. Pick number 64, we have the Chiefs. And I want to see, are there any more quarterbacks available that, like J.J. McCarthy? I like J.J. McCarthy. I forgot about J.J. McCarthy. I don't think he's a guaranteed second-round pick because of his size, and he didn't really have a great track record before this year. He's been doing an excellent job. I think we actually might trade out of this spot just because I want to see J.J. McCarthy, get a new team here. And maybe a squad that could be in the mood for him. Man, you gotta find a team at this point. Packers could always bring in competition because it's not like a guarantee that they're amazing there because they just made the playoffs. But, I mean, to be fair, the Jets, the Jets could use a QB, and this is within striking range. The Jets are going to offer a future 3rd-round pick to be able to move up 16 spots. You guys can play around with the figures. And they're going to move up for J.J. McCarthy. They're going to have a future at that quarterback position. There we go. So, Jets fans, we ended up getting a replacement for Aaron Rodgers. There you go. Enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. See you on the far side. Peace.